Remember when your dad used to talk about the heroic nations in World War II, the Allies? What did they do? Where did they win? And how many people did they save and territories they liberated? But is that the whole truth? Were there any crimes they committed? Today, join us on Epic History Facts as we uncover 10 shocking crimes committed by the Allies during World War II that you never learned about in school and were never told. Then, think about what you would tell your kids when they ask, who were the heroes in World War II? Number 10. Bombing of Dresden, 1945. In February 1945, as World War II neared its brutal climax, the skies over Dresden, Germany, darkened with a storm of Allied bombers. The city, known for its stunning architecture and rich cultural heritage, was transformed into a hellish inferno over the course of 4 raids. The operation, involving over 1,200 British and American aircraft, dropped nearly 4,000 tons of explosives and incendiary devices on Dresden, igniting a firestorm that consumed the city. Eyewitness accounts describe a cityscape where flames roared through the streets like a living entity, consuming everything in its path. Buildings collapsed into rubble, and people were incinerated or suffocated in bomb shelters as temperatures soared. The death toll was catastrophic, with estimates ranging from 25,000 to 35,000 civilians, including women and children. The justification for this devastating attack has been a topic of intense debate. While military strategists argued that Dresden was a legitimate target due to its industrial and transportation infrastructure, critics contended that the city's limited strategic value did not warrant such overwhelming destruction. The psychological impact on the survivors was profound, leaving a scar that lingered long after the war ended. Number 9. Bombing of Tokyo, 1945. On the night of March 9-10, 1945, Tokyo experienced one of the deadliest air raids in history. Nearly 300 American B-29 bombers unleashed a torrent of incendiary bombs on the densely populated city, designed to create a massive firestorm. The attack was meticulously planned to exploit the wooden construction of Tokyo's buildings, maximizing destruction. Within hours, vast swaths of the city were engulfed in flames, with temperatures reaching 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit. The inferno spread with such ferocity that it sucked oxygen from the air, causing people to suffocate. Over 100,000 civilians perished in the blaze, and 1 million more were left homeless. The attack was part of a broader strategy to cripple Japan's war production and break civilian morale, but the human cost was staggering. The sheer scale of the destruction and the suffering inflicted on Tokyo's inhabitants made this raid one of the most controversial actions of the war, raising ethical questions about the targeting of civilian populations in wartime. Number 8. Operation Teardrop, 1945. In the waning days of World War II, the Atlantic Ocean became a battleground as Allied forces sought to intercept German U-boats threatening their supply lines. Operation Teardrop was one such mission, targeting U-546, which was captured on April 24, 1945. The captured German submariners faced brutal interrogation by U.S. Navy personnel, a stark violation of the Geneva Conventions. The prisoners were subjected to torture, including beatings and threats, in an effort to extract information about other U-boats. These actions, carried out under the pressure of wartime exigencies, starkly contrasted with the Allies' professed commitment to humane treatment of prisoners of war. The ethical ramifications of such treatment were profound, as it eroded the moral high ground the Allies sought to maintain. The incident highlighted the brutal realities of war, where the lines between right and wrong can become dangerously blurred, and left a dark mark on the legacy of the Allied victory. Number 7. Acate massacre, 1943. The Acate massacre unfolded on July 14, 1943, during the Allied invasion of Sicily. As U.S. troops advanced through the town of Acate, they encountered Italian civilians looting an abandoned factory. In a shocking and violent response, American soldiers opened fire, killing 8 unarmed civilians. This incident, a stark example of the chaos and brutality that can accompany military operations, left a community shattered and bereaved. The victims, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, were ordinary people seeking to survive the war's ravages. The massacre was swiftly covered up, with those responsible facing minimal consequences. The long-term impact on the survivors and the town was profound, fostering resentment and a deep sense of injustice. This tragic event underscored the need for strict adherence to rules of engagement and the protection of non-combatants, even in the heat of battle. Number 6. Dachau Massacre, 1945. On April 29, 1945, American forces liberated Dachau concentration camp, a site of unimaginable horror where tens of thousands had perished. In the immediate aftermath, the liberating troops, horrified by the atrocities they discovered, executed a number of German SS guards in a spontaneous act of retribution. The exact number of guards killed remains disputed, but estimates suggest that between 30 and 50 were shot. This act, while understandable given the emotional intensity of the moment, violated the principles of justice and the rules governing the treatment of prisoners of war. The Dachau massacre revealed the complexities of war, where even those fighting against tyranny could find themselves committing acts of vengeance. The incident served as a sobering reminder of the need for discipline and adherence to international law, even in the face of overwhelming provocation. Number 5. Rheinwiesenlager, prisons of war camps, 1945. In the aftermath of World War II, millions of German soldiers were held in prisons of war camps in the Rhine meadows, known as Rheinwiesenlager. These camps, hastily constructed and inadequately supplied, became sites of immense suffering. Lacking proper shelter, food, and medical care, the prisoners endured harsh conditions that led to the deaths of an estimated 3,000 to 10,000 individuals. The prisoners, many of whom were conscripts or civilians pressed into service, faced exposure to the elements, starvation, and disease. The Allies, grappling with the logistical challenges of handling such a large number of captives, failed to meet the basic standards of humane treatment outlined in the Geneva Conventions. The Rheinwiesenlager camps left a lasting legacy of bitterness and resentment, illustrating the devastating consequences of inadequate planning and the failure to uphold humanitarian principles.